What if the same Chinese seller who previously got his hands on Qualcomm's next Snapdragon flagship is now selling what could be MediaTek's next big chip for just $30? Yeah. A Chinese Xianyu seller known as Jeffel has reportedly listed engineering samples believed to be connected to MediaTek's upcoming flagship chips. And this is the same seller who previously listed engineering samples of Qualcomm's next Snapdragon Elite Gen 6 Pro, also known by the part number SM8975. So this isn't just some random chip showing up online. The same marketplace seller has already been connected to Qualcomm's next-generation flagship silicon, and now we're seeing possible MediaTek hardware from the next generation. But there is one very important thing we need to make clear. The MediaTek chip we're talking about has not been officially confirmed as the Dimensity 9600 Pro. That part is still a leak. So let's break down what we actually know. The seller reportedly listed two engineering samples marked MT6993Z and MT6995Z. The MT6993Z is already linked to the Dimensity 9500, but the MT6995Z is the interesting one. Based on MediaTek's part numbering pattern, it could belong to a newer flagship chip, potentially the Dimensity 9600 series, and possibly the Dimensity 9600 Pro. Again, that's not officially confirmed, but the fact that it appeared alongside the Dimensity 9500 makes the listing worth watching. And here's the crazy part. The reported price was only 200 Chinese yuan, which is roughly $30. $30 for a chip that could potentially be part of MediaTek's next flagship platform sounds ridiculous, but there's a catch. This isn't a normal retail processor. These are reportedly engineering samples. They are early chips used for testing before the final product reaches smartphones. So you can't simply spend $30, buy one of these chips, put it inside your phone, and suddenly turn your device into a flagship. You would need the right motherboard, power system, memory, software, cooling, and much more. That's why the seller reportedly described the chips as being useful for motherboard repair and expansion, and the listing has reportedly been taken down. But the pictures are what make this story even more interesting. The chips were shown as loose BGA packaging, with markings placed on the packaging, and the suspected Dimensity 9600 Pro chip appears to be very similar in physical size to the Dimensity 9500. That could mean MediaTek is keeping the chip around a similar physical size. Some reports estimate the die could be around 140 square millimeters, although we should treat that number as an estimate for now. And here's where Qualcomm comes back into the story. The Snapdragon Elite Gen 6 Pro has also been rumored to use a die around 134 square millimeters. So if these numbers are anywhere close to reality, MediaTek and Qualcomm could be getting much closer in physical chip size. And that matters, because a larger chip can cost more to manufacture. MediaTek could therefore be spending more money to build its flagship processor while still trying to compete with Qualcomm on price. That's going to be a very interesting battle. Because Qualcomm isn't just preparing a powerful chip. The Snapdragon Elite Gen 6 Pro is expected to bring major performance improvements, new graphics technology, and advanced AI features. MediaTek, meanwhile, has to make sure the Dimensity 9600 Pro can compete on performance, power efficiency, and graphics. And there's another big question: heat. The leaked package reportedly uses a similar design to the previous generation. That could become important because these flagship chips are getting extremely powerful. A processor can have an amazing benchmark score, but if the phone gets too hot after 20 or 30 minutes of gaming, that performance won't mean much. So the cooling system inside the final phones could be just as important as the processor itself. And this is where the Snapdragon versus Dimensity battle could become very interesting. Remember, we've already seen the Snapdragon Elite Gen 6 Pro engineering samples appear through this same seller. Now we're potentially seeing MediaTek's next flagship hardware. And that gives us a very interesting look at the competition that's coming. Qualcomm wants to remain the king of high-end Android phones. MediaTek wants to close the gap. And if the Dimensity 9600 Pro really is the chip behind the MT9995Z listing, MediaTek could have another serious weapon ready. But for now, we need to stay careful. MT6993 has been linked to the Dimensity 9500. The connection between MT6995Z and the Dimensity 9600 series is still unverified, so don't treat this as official confirmation yet. What we can say is that the same marketplace seller who previously had Snapdragon Elite Gen 6 Pro engineering samples has now listed MediaTek chips that could represent its next flagship generation. And honestly, that's the part that makes this story so exciting, because we're heading for another major Snapdragon versus Dimensity fight. And if both companies deliver what the leaks are suggesting, the real winners could be the people buying the phones. More competition, more performance, better efficiency, and hopefully better prices. So, what do you think? Could the Dimensity 9600 Pro finally give Qualcomm's Snapdragon Elite Gen 6 Pro a serious fight? Let me know what you think in the comments.